This happened when I was 19 years old. My friend and I went to an old mall here in the Philippines for our thesis paper. After finishing our work, we decided to buy some iced coffee from McDonald's to boost our energy for the drive home. And while we were waiting in line, the guy in front of me told us that we can cut in front of him. I didn't suspect anything because I thought that he was just being a nice guy. He was wearing a blue shirt and a black hat, and I think he was about in his mid-20s. When it was our turn, the cashier told us that all caffeinated drinks weren't available, so we left out in McDonald's empty-handed. And I noticed that the very same guy left McDonald's immediately after us, and he was also empty-handed. I thought that maybe he was also there for coffee, and he overheard our conversation with the cashier that the drinks weren't available that time, and he didn't want to waste his time asking the same question. I still didn't want to suspect anything, because I'm a paranoid person and I didn't want to cause any panic. We were meters away from the parking lot when my friend suddenly spotted a cute plush toy on display, so we stopped and looked at it. And that's when I noticed him again. He also stopped and randomly looked at some display. My heart skipped a beat, and I felt my adrenaline rush. I needed to think fast and confirm that he was really following us. I casually told my friend that I forgot to buy something from the mall, and we had to go back to buy it. We went to the nearest escalator and I saw the same guy ride the escalator a few meters away from us. I whispered to my friend, "Don't panic and don't look now, but I think the guy from McDonald's is following us." I was in a state of panic, and the only thing that I can think of was to go back to McDonald's and see if this guy was still following us. We went back and he still followed us there, raising more red flags. Now I was 100% sure that he was following us. We walked around a bit until we found a security guard posted nearby, and we stopped to talk to the guard. The guy walked away. When we were sure that the guy wasn't following us anymore, we headed straight to the parking lot. But of course, guess who was in that parking lot? That same man. He was standing by a bus stop and began to walk as we got closer to our car. Then all of a sudden, I yelled, "Run." We ran to the car. He ran to his car. At this point, we knew that he was going to chase us. We got out of the parking lot, and he was about 50 feet behind us. Then all of a sudden, he sped up so fast that he cut us off at a light. This guy was so crazy that he jumped out of his car with a weapon in his hand. I couldn't tell what it was, but I knew it was a weapon. So I sped up and I hit him with the car, and I ran the red light. At that point, we called the police. But when the cops got there, when they got to the scene, the guy and his car were gone. Only thing that we could do was make a report and go home. I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the scariest nights of my life. Always be aware of your surroundings, folks. It's a good thing my friend spotted a cute plush toy. If she didn't, I wouldn't have noticed that guy who was following us. I can't imagine what could have happened if he followed us to our parking spot. My first job was at a McDonald's. This building was attached to a gas station and located off of a busy highway. I was 14 and started a 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. shift. This early, the store was usually empty, so only 3 people, myself included, were in the restaurant. The manager, who was in the back, the cook, who was also in the back, and I, the cashier, who was up front. I was wiping down the counter when a man who looked to be in his mid-30s or early 40s came in. He didn't order anything, but he went straight to the restrooms, which were in the restaurant area just around the corner from my cash register. Many truckers and travelers would come in to simply use the washrooms and leave, so this was an uncommon occurrence. I didn't think much of it, but after the man finished, he came up to the counter and said that he was using the bathroom and one of the toilets are overflowing. I immediately came around the corner and I let him lead me toward the restroom. Suddenly, I got a horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach, and I stopped dead in my tracks. I became very aware that no one was in the restaurant area, and the only other 2 people in the store were in the back and would not be able to hear me if I went into this restroom. The man had the restroom door open and realized that I had paused. He nonchalantly said, "Come on in, I'll show you," which came off innocently enough, but it didn't sit well with me. I smiled and I said, "One moment, I get my manager," and I started making my way back toward the counter. The guy yelled out that it would only take a minute. I met my manager in the back and I explained to him that a man was complaining about an overflowing toilet. My manager went to check it out, and I followed closely behind him. When we turned the corner, the man was gone, and we entered the restroom. No toilet was overflowing. Above the toilet was a sticky note that wasn't there earlier, and on it, it said, "You're lucky that you didn't walk into the bathroom with me." My manager and I exchanged a look, and we never brought it up again. To this day, I feel like some divine intervention gave me the wisdom to know that I shouldn't be following that man into the restroom. The whole situation only lasted a few seconds, but it felt like forever. I was young and I was trusting, and this man could have done God knows what to me, and I wouldn't have been hurt. He could have left, got away with whatever he was doing or whatever he had planned, and hit the highway. I would have never seen it coming, and after that I never seen this man again. I was 11 years old when this happened. Right now I'm 24. I was visiting my dad and my stepmom over the summer in Canada. My dad worked long days during the week, so on my stepmom's day off, he had planned for her, my sister, and I to go out so we can get some bonding time because we didn't really know her that well. She took us to get our nails done to the mall, and on the way home, we stopped at the McDonald's. We planned on eating inside in the restaurant, but it was very busy, so my stepmom asked my sister and I to find a table and wait there while she went to the counter to order our food. I noticed this rough, older-looking woman, possibly her 60s or 70s, looking towards our direction and looking at our table me and my sister were seated at. All I can remember is thinking, she looked like a drugged-out Suzanne Boyle. She looked like she was possibly homeless in an attic, so I didn't give her much of a thought, letting her do her own thing, and I just tried to talk to my sister about random stuff. Once my stepmom came back to the table, this woman was seemingly already approaching us and then stepped beside us. She just said hello, so we all kind of said hi back and tried to ignore her. She asked if we were my stepmom's daughters, so she says that yeah, they're my stepdaughters. Trying to be simple to just shut her down. This lady said that we were beautiful and begins to walk toward the door. She stops one last time and asked how old we were. We had the impression that she was on her way out, so my stepmom said 11 and 8. Her eyes lit up and she looked at me with a strange look. She said she always wanted to have an 11-year-old. And then out of nowhere, she just said, "I'll buy her from you." That definitely crossed the line, so my stepmom finally tells her that we're trying to eat lunch and asks her what she meant by saying she'll buy her. The lady got one last look at me, and then she said, "Either I'm buying them or I'm taking them. Your choice." Right after she said that, we all froze in fear. Then my stepmother grabbed us to get away from her. The lady was grabbing something out from either her back pocket or back of her pants. Then my stepmother yelled out for help. The lady stopped immediately in her tracks, looked around, and finally left. She definitely didn't have the money to buy me, even if she wanted to. So I wasn't worried until she said she'll take me. I think she was possibly on drugs and not in the right mind. But knowing my shy ass at 11, I wouldn't have known how to get rid of this lady if she tried to talk to us without my stepmom there. We weren't super close then, but I respected her a lot after that day for being ready to protect us, even in a minor situation like that.
Nightmare Files.